Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, Navi Mumbai. Welcome you all for our webinar Business Model Canvas. So what exactly is Business Model Canvas? Got a new business idea but don't know how to put it to work. A business model is simply a plan describing how a business intends to make money. It explains who your customer base is and how you deliver value to them and the related details of financing. It lets you define these different components on a single page. This is how important business model canvas is. So, to guide us and share knowledge and experience on such an important topic, we have with us Mr. Darshan Khania, the CEO, Mr. Kunal Kathirani, the COO, Mr. Vijay Vanwari, the CTO of Khania Mobility Private Limited.
Hello and welcome everyone. I am Kunal Kathrani, Chief of Operations at Khania Mobility.
So, before
Uh,
that,
Dan,
uh, yeah, Chinmay would like to say something.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
no, it's fine.
Uh, I, requ- I request our beloved Vice President of IIC and Vice Principal, Dr. Subhash Shinde sir, to speak a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Chinmay. I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, one and all. First of all, I welcome each one of you for today's webinar, Business Model Canvas. Special thanks for the today's speaker, Darshan, Kunal, as well as Vinay, who has given their valuable time and they want to share their views with the young mind who in being in the due course of time they work into the business and they will be doing the good job for the nation as well as the society. So the outcome from this the webinar, I'm sure the each participant understand what is the concept of the business and how the business model really work into the corporate and what are the different constraints and how these constraints try to overcome. So these are the different aspects that already given into that in the agenda. What can be discussed in the today's webinar. So without taking much more time, I request to the speakers to continue the session. I thanks the organizing committee, IIC Sales, to given me opportunity to interact the lovely audience. Thank you. Over to you, Chinmay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request our beloved President of IIC and Principal, Dr. Vivek Sunnapawar, sir, to speak a few words.
Thank you. It is my proud privilege to welcome today's esteemed speakers, Darshan, Kunal, and Vinay from Khania Mobility. And definitely, I'm sure these young and dynamic entrepreneurs will definitely, motivate and ignite minds of all young participants of this particular session. I'm very happy that our Institute Innovation Cell is really vibrant and under the very able leadership of Dr. Rajesh Shinde and her colleague Dr. Vaishali. You are doing an excellent job in by bringing in people who have experienced the challenges and definitely they are very right people who can guide our students. So I wish this session a grand success and welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now, moving on to our guest speakers, they are Darshan Khania, founder, Kunal Kathirani, co-founder, Vinay Vanwari, co-founder from Khania Mobility Private Limited. So they are the alumni of our Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, with Vinay being the last year student currently. They opted out of the traditional job roles and went for a more dynamic and ever-changing world of startups. Now, they have been making efforts for converting petrol engine cars into electric cars and have done this quite successfully. Now, they are taking this model to the next level by forming a company called Khania Mobility Private Limited. This startup is based in Mumbai and they are a fresh startup of around 9 months ago. Their prototypes trial has been done quite successfully for over 1,000 kilometers around the country, and also they are going for an investment round very soon. So let's wish them the best.
Now I like the team of Khania Mobility to take over and introduce themselves to our today's topic, business model canvas.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello and welcome everyone. I am Kunal Kathrani, Chief of Operations at Khania Mobility. Along with me, I have Darshan Khania, Founder CEO, and Vinay Vanwari, Co-Founder CTO. I'd like to give you a brief about Khania Mobility. So, Khania Mobility is a new age startup that is involved in design and development of sustainable and affordable electric mobility. We are a group of engineers who are determined to fast track the EV transition. Currently, we possess a small but dynamic team that can take up challenges arising around electric mobility and bring feasible solutions. Our prototype is already catching an eye on the road as we complete 1,000 kilometers around Mumbai, traveling on daily basis. Ah. Now coming up to the topic, business model canvas. So what is business model canvas? Basically, putting your ideas on just a sheet of paper according to segments, as we the following segments that we'll speak about. You can get a complete idea of what your business will look like, what all roles would be played by the key partners, what all your customers will be expecting from you, what is the value that you're gonna present to your customer, how are your uh, income, how is your income gonna increase, and how would you spend the money that you are receiving from your investors. So this particular canvas is a strategic management tool to quickly and easily define and communicate a business idea or concept. Just a page of document which will walk your partners, your investors, and your customers through the entire business model. On the So why do we use a business model canvas? It helps your partners, investors, and customers understand your idea. It it shows a connection between your the things that you're offering, that is your value proposition, in exchange for money, and how what customers are you targeting. The major contents of business model canvas are: on the business side we have key partners, key activities, key resources, cost structures. On the customer side, we have customer segment, customer relationship, channels, revenue stream. Both of these parts meet at value proposition, where you give value to your customer in exchange for money. This is what a business model canvas looks like. Each of these particular segments will be explained by Darshan Khania in the following slides. Over to you, Darshan.
Thank you very much, Kunal. So, since you have seen a very basic template of what a business model canvas look like, and I'm going to explain you all the key elements about it in this photo. But before going forward, just have a quick question for everybody present over here. So, all the students, do you ever dream of doing a business in your life? Just yes or no in the comment section. So nobody's responding. Yes, right. Like two people respond, like there are people responding yes. So did you ever had any idea in your mind like हम लोग ये करेंगे या फिर हम लोग वो करेंगे ever? Many times, right? So Kunal, the PPT isn't showing this issue. Yes, just move on to the next slide, please. So a lot of time. So this has happened with me too when I was in college. तो बहुत सारी ideas आते दिमाग में कि हम ये कर सकते हैं, हम वो कर सकते हैं. Like a business is all about solving the problems, but how to put all your ideas into a piece of paper to make it clarity, to bring clarity into your ideas. कैसे करें? तो इसके लिए बनाया गया है business model canvas. So the very first and the most important aspect of a business model is to have its own value. Let's say हमें एक आइडिया आ गया कि हम एक ऐप बनाएंगे जो maybe solves a problem of समझ लो कि हमें प्लेसमेंट की तकलीफ है तो we have an app that solves an issue of all the placement related issues. ठीक है, तो what value do we provide? The most important aspect of any business is to provide a proper value to the customers. तो हम जैसे देखेंगे कि कोई भी बिजनेस हो, हमें सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहिए कि what is the problem that my business is going to solve, right? Once you have the answer to that business, to that question, your business is going to solve. Next comes the question: is the problem that significant? If it is, then what is the motivation to solve this problem? Once you get these ideas, ki bhai, what value do you serve, what value you are going to give to your customers, ye ek baar solve ho gaya, then we move on to the next important part, that is who are the customers. Next slide, please. So once you have found the value you are going to provide to your customers, next important part is to find a customer segment that is gonna require the solutions you are providing for the problems they have. So what you can do is every single segment of customers have different sets of problems and different set of solutions gonna work on them. So the first more important part of getting into business is to knowing what market size you have, what customer target you are going to target, what problems do they have, and what is the solution you have. Is the solution good enough for them? Is it not? What to do and what not to do. So once you get into this, then you have to look for a very sustainable and viable business option. You have to see your market size. अगर आपका market size बहुत बड़ा नहीं है, it's very minimal, so you're not going to grow exponentially or very big. Your business will be small, but if you have a solution to a very sustainable market, you can move ahead and then you can get into the next part, which is called, next slide please, customer relationship. So let's take an example. Let's take an example of Apple, right? So when Apple came into market, तो वहाँ पे Microsoft already था for in the segment of computers. So what they did was they had their value proposition कि we are gonna build a very good brand image and we are gonna give a very good support and sales service to our customers. So then they moved on to a different part, which was customer segment. So they identified their customers. उनके customers कौन रहेंगे? तो वहाँ पे उन्होंने customer segment identify किया. They knew कि हाँ जो young age people है who are getting into this IT, they will be our customers. Next was the important part of what important relationship does a business, the company needs to maintain with its customer. तो यहाँ पे ये question feel होना चाहिए कि हम customer के साथ relationship कैसे maintain करेंगे? Maybe it would be through phones, in person, या फिर through events, through online. And this relationship is very important to maintain and grow the customer segment, the customer base. And it is very important for any business, for any entrepreneur to know how to do this to get your business growing up and above. Once you have found this, the next step is to find channels. So let's again take an example of Apple. So जैसे मैंने कहा कि Apple has found its customer target. Apple knows how to maintain the relation, but how to reach out to the customer, how to reach out to the first customer. This is the most important part. हर एक business का एक अलग तरीका होता है. You have to identify your engine of growth. The first example of channel is through social media, maybe with help of public speaking. There is viral marketing and there is offline marketing. तो हर एक business अलग अलग channel से काम करता है. If you talk about Zomato, तो Zomato का channels होगा online marketing. Then they provide many offers and they have viral marketing techniques. लेकिन आप अगर किसी, let's say, if you talk about old business, automotive business like Mahindra or Tata, they even do television marketing and offline marketing. वो लोग billboards लगाते हैं to catch eyes. वो channels होते हैं उनके. So once you have your value proposition in hand, you know your customer market, then you need to find channels, how to get to that customer, how to make that customer pay for the product you have, right? So ये एक section खत्म हुआ. उसके आगे हम जाएंगे दूसरे part पे, which is the key activities which your business, your company has to do so that the customer would come to you to pay for your product or your service you are offering, right? तो जैसे हम कहेंगे कि Apple क्या करता है, right? Apple makes mobile phones, PCs. So the key activities involve manufacturing. But along with that, there is so many things which involves in that whole business activity. तो हमें वो list down करना पड़ेगा. So let's say we will take an example of someone. Let's say Chinmay said he has a lot of ideas. बहुत सारे ideas उसको आए हैं. So can you list down any idea in your head so we can discuss on that? तो interactive session रखते हैं. Hello.
Yes, student, any idea in your mind to start the business? Sir, one has replied vendor machines on roadside.
Vending machines. Okay, fine. So first of all हम बात करेंगे value proposition की, right? So vending machines तो बहुत सारे हैं. Big Basket खुद का vending machine रखता है. Grofers खुद का vending machine रखता है. So when you're starting, you need to have a value proposition in hand. कि भाई, why do I need to get into this in this market? So the value you can say is you can provide easy access, fast and easy food आ जाएगा, and anyway, like you can put a vending machine on side of road and people would like just scan or pay and they can have their food or whatever they need very immediately, right? So then you need to get into finding out the customer segment. कौन करेगा? So you can divide this segment in age groups, maybe gender वगैरह वगैरह, या फिर if age and gender does not match, you can segment it in the group of incomes maybe. Once you have done that, you have to move to the relation part. Key, how will I maintain that relation with the customer that's buying the product from me? Will that customer buy the product from me again and again? If not, why not? If the person buys, then how can I maintain that relationship? So uske baad we move on to the channels. So how will you advertise your vending machine? Maybe through online, maybe through social media marketing करेंगे, या फिर banners लग जाएंगे, या तो in-person marketing होगा. Next comes the key activities too. We have the channels in place, we have the customer market in place, we have the product, we have the value. तो वो सब करने के लिए what is the activities we need to do? जैसे मैंने Apple की बात की, Apple का main activity design and manufacturing है. For a vending machine, the main activities would be marketing, would be making a proper solution कि there never comes an issue कि आपने कुछ प्रोडक्ट के लिए पे किया, वो प्रोडक्ट वेंडिंग मशीन से बाहर ना आया, and having a proper service network, proper exactly, we can add those machines where the crowd is more. So we have identified a target market ki bhai target market should be in crowded place, like a busy market, maybe in a mall. This could work. So we have found key activities ka basic idea aa gaya ki what is the key activities a company should do so that the customer through the channels we have provided will get the solutions we have designed. Next slide, please. So to carry out those activities, what is the key resources we need? Just say if we talk about the vending machine, what is the key resource we need? First, we need a space for putting up the vending machine. So यहाँ पे key resource हो गए a marketplace, maybe a place in a mall. Then we need to host that vending machine. तो वो रहेंगे. फिर if there is a technical error, we need people and staff to maintain it. So these are the resources which a company depends on to carry out its key activities so that we can provide solution to the customer facing a problem we have identified, right? So once we have identified the key resources, we will move on to the next part, that is key partners. तो हमने समझ लिया कि हमारा जो कंपनी है वो एक वैल्यू प्रोवाइड कर रहा है फॉर द कस्टमर. हमें टारगेट मार्केट पता चल गया, हमें चैनल्स पता चल गए, हाउ टू टारगेट दैट कस्टमर, राइट? एंड वी हैव फाउंड आउट द एक्टिविटीज हमें जो करनी है. तो एक्टिविटीज करने के लिए हमारे साथ की पार्टनर्स कौन है, जो ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट पार्टनर्स जिनके होने से या जिनके ना होने से हमारा काम अटक सकता है या बन सकता है. तो लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ एन ऑटोमोटिव कंपनी, ऑटोमोटिव मैन्युफैक्चरर. तो एक ऑटोमोटिव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फॉर एग्जांपल महिंद्रा क्या करता है कि उनका एक असेंबली लाइन होता है. सो व्हाट हैपेंस, दे हैव अ चासी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फ्रॉम समवेयर एल्स, they bring their tires from somewhere else, their rims from somewhere else, उनका steering system, उनका electronics कहीं और से आता है. So that company is completely dependent on spare parts and different technology companies to deliver their product on time. तो अगर ये चीज उनका डिले होता है तो उनका मैन्युफैक्चरिंग लाइन पूरा डिले हो जाता है. So this is what happened right now with the automotive industry due to chip shortage. तो चिप शॉर्टेज की वजह से इतना बड़ा इशू आ गया है. दी प्रोडक्शन टाइम हैज डिलेड, दी डिलीवरी टाइम्स हैव डिलेड, दी अपफ्रंट कॉस्ट हैज इंक्रीज. तो ये हमारे की पार्टनर्स है. तो इन्हें आइडेंटिफाई करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर हम इन्हें आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करते तो इन फ्यूचर एक ऐसी सिचुएशन अराइज हो जाती है जिन्हें हमने कभी प्रेडिक्ट नहीं किया हो, राइट? लाइक व्हाट हैपेंड राइट नाउ विद द चिप शॉर्टेज. सो सिंस इट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट, getting back to the vending machine part, so the key partners would be the vending machine manufacturer. Next would be the distributors from whom we buy the products. Let's say vending machine में बहुत सारे chips है, तो हमें वो chips एक distributor से खरीदने पड़ेंगे. तो let's say वो chips का बहुत ज़्यादा demand है, chips are like getting sold out again and again, मतलब हर एक घंटे में chips sold out हो जाता है. तो हमें distributor channel ऐसा लगेगा कि we can get that chips restocked in very less time. So if we have not identified the key partners, if we don't have a backup in our hand, तो ये पूरा activity हमारा जो business है, the value we are going to give to the customers, वो पूरा disrupt हो जाता है. So this is a very important aspect of a business model canvas. Moving on to the next part is the cost structures. तो सबसे important होता है when you are starting a business, the most important aspect of any business is to earn profit. If you're not earning profit, then you cannot sustain the business in the long run. So you have to look on your cost sheet. Ki how will I use my money? Where will I use my money? And in what aspect I should use my money that I can provide the value that I have thought in my mind to the customers. इसमें बहुत सारा कॉस्ट आता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल the cost of partnerships, the cost of resources, upfront cost होता है, operations cost होते हैं. If to ask if there is any cost on legal structures, इंश्योरेंस के कॉस्ट होते हैं नहीं होते हैं, देन व्हाट इज द कॉस्ट ऑफ टाइम यू हैव पुट इनटू द बिजनेस. तो ये सारे कॉस्ट को ध्यान रखने पड़ते हैं. इफ यू मिस आउट ऑन एनीथिंग, दैट कॉस्ट इज गोना ऐड अप, बट the revenue would be very less, so you're not going to make a sustainable profit and you cannot sustain the business for a long run. So Prajwal said at starting phase there is no profit in any business. Right. So business में बहुत सारे तरीके के होते हैं. If you talk about an aggregator business model, let's say talk about Zomato की बात करते हैं. तो Zomato का जो upfront cost है, उसमें उनको प्रॉफिट आता है, उनको ग्रॉस मार्जिन प्रॉफिट मिलता है, लेकिन उनको नेट प्रॉफिट नहीं मिलता है. सो व्हाट इज ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट? कि लेट्स से यू आर मेकिंग अ प्रोडक्ट फॉर 5 रुपीस एंड यू आर सेलिंग द प्रोडक्ट फॉर 10 रुपीस, तो आपका ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट हो गया 5 रुपीस. लेकिन उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे कॉस्ट है, जैसे मैंने कहा कि देयर इज लीगल कॉस्ट, देयर इज इंश्योरेंस कॉस्ट, देयर इज अ कॉस्ट ऑफ टाइम, देयर इज मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट. तो ये सारे कॉस्ट ऐड करके लेट्स से ये सब का कॉस्ट हो गया 10 रुपीस, तो आपका प्रॉफिट हो जाएगा -5, राइट. तो ये ऐसा चीज होता है कि when you're getting into business you need to have every single cost structure in your mind. You need to have every single cost structure in your mind. तो वो सारी चीज को आपको ऐड करना पड़ता है. स्टार्टिंग में प्रॉफिट नहीं होता है, लेकिन you have to keep in mind कि how am I going to generate the revenue, how am I going to get the profits in upcoming maybe quarters, upcoming years वगैरह वगैरह. So once you have identified the cost structures, you move to the next part, which is the revenue streams. So this is the last part, हमें कैसे करना है. Once आपको एक बार value पता चल गया कि what value you wanna give to the customers, आपका customer target कौन रहेगा, आपका cost कैसे आप minimal करने का try करोगे, तो revenue streams are the way a company can earn the money. So the basic and the most important revenue stream होता है by selling the product or selling the service. जैसे एप्पल अपना प्रोडक्ट्स बेचता है, हम लोग हमारा प्रोडक्ट्स बेचेंगे. जोमेटो अर्न्स मनी थ्रू देयर कमीशंस. तो ये सारे रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम्स होते हैं. You have to identify revenue streams when you are starting a model, when you're starting a business. So once you identify everything, you are good to go. So once you have all this thing in your hand, एक business एक template बनाना पड़ता है. वो template में you put every single detail you have in your mind, then you move forward and then you can get your idea into execution very easily. Ideas are important, but the most important aspect of any business is to execute the idea in a proper way. Now, I would like Vinay to explain you guys थोड़ा सा examples है एप्पल का और हमारी कंपनी का. सो विनय, प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
Hello everyone, my name is Vinay Mandari. So I've been here. I'm here to give the case study of Apple. So let's start here. First, as we said, what is Apple solving exactly? That is value proposition. He's saying that it is saying that it will go. It will give the best design, performance, usability, and brand status. Okay, so and the customer segment at which he's targeting, that is mass market, make multimedia platforms, and how is he going to keep the relationship with the customer, that is self-service and personal assistance, and what are the channels that it will connect with the customers, that are Apple retail stores, apple.com, and other retailers, and what are the key activities that are required to cope up with that value proposition, that is design a key activity that are required are design, software development, manufacturing, and quality control. And the key partnership that are to be made for these key activities are manufacturers, app store development, cellular service providers, publisher, music, TV, and movie industries, etc. And then comes the key resources that are required to run this whole value proposition thing. Human, intellectual, these are the things that are required for this. And then comes the cost structure, that cost of the company that is required, that is cost driven and economies of scales. And then comes the revenue, how are we going to generate, that is sales of product, media sales, licensing, and rental and subscription fees. Okay. So then this comes our next case study of the Nike, and what is it solving is value proposition. It's running shoes, and target customers are global retailers and everyone here actually. And then comes the customer relationship. It is showing that it is a brand loyal. It will be a brand loyalty, and channels are distributors, and it is also selling the shoes online through its own websites. And then comes the key partnerships, key activities, sorry, R&D, manufacturing and distribution, and sorry, key activities. Okay, and then comes the key partnership, manufacturing, contractors, international supply chains partners, retailers, and star athletes. And then comes the key resources, that is manufacturing, brand, supply chain, uh, patents and other. And then comes the cost structure, that is the cost of the sales, research and development, promotion and advertising, and selling and administrative. These are the costs that is required to run this whole business. And then comes the revenue, it is the directly shoe selling, shoe sold. Okay, so next comes is our business model, what we have made. So yeah, so this is our business model. We are our value proposition is we want to give an electric three wheeler which is very cost efficient, low operating cost, emission free, advanced technology, and low product life cycle. And our target customers are business owners that are like logistics and e-commerce, that are major customers, and there are single owners that we want to connect also. And then there comes the customer relationship. How we are going to connect is in person and online, via online also. And the channels which we are looking forward are sales executive, website, and offline advertising. And the key activities that are required are design, R&D, manufacturing and services. And then the key partnership that we want are manufacturing and ancillaries. And the key resources that we require are human, intellect, time, supply chain, patent and certifications. And the cost structure that we have are cost of sales, R&D, promotion and administrative. And the revenue streams are the electric three wheeler vehicle sales and services. Okay, so these were our business model case studies, and that's it from our side. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you to the dignitaries for sharing their knowledge. So now, as Vinay said, if you have any questions for the team, then please unmute yourself, or else you can also type your questions in the chat box.
So, what kind of services are you providing, like with three-wheeler vehicles, and what kind of services?
So basically, when like basic any basic automobile company that provides services like your scheduled service that include oil change or checking of your systems, like electronic systems if they are working properly, the sensors, everything that will be that is need to be checked periodically.
Okay, maintenance parts,
Yeah,
kind of.
maintenance.
Okay, okay. And the three-wheeler which you are making are for the logistic purposes or for that auto rickshaw kind of thing?
No, no, no. It's not passenger vehicles. It is cargo vehicles that will be used for e-commerce, logistics, and stuff.
Okay. We have one question. Why consumers choose your US 3V three-wheeler EV over CNG?
Okay, so basically, there are a few points that could have an edge over CNG. Electric vehicles have an edge over CNG because Firstly, they are like very low. They have very low operating cost. Like we have actually talked to customer segment that we're targeting, and they say that CNG costs them around 4 rupees per kilometer, whereas when they use an electric vehicle, it will cost them even less than 1 rupee. So their operating cost is like goes down by around 75%. That is the one main reason, and also it is emission free, so you can comply with government policies. You don't have to stop using your vehicle after 8 years or 15 years. You have a long product life.
Uh, does that battery has a long life? Like how much life it has?
The battery life that is like provided by our company is 5 years. The warranty is 5 years, but a battery can be used even further. And also after you've like exploited the battery entirely, you have the option to exchange it with some amount of money, and you'll get a new battery. And the battery that we have like taken from you, it can further be used as energy storage systems.
Okay. We have one question here. How does competition in the market fit into this model?
uh, so the competition, there is going to be competition every time, like even with newer ideas, someone has the financial capability to copy your idea and make it like, bigger. So the main thing how you are gonna sustain in this market is with continuous improvement. You have to constantly improve your existing product. You have to improve your team. You have to make your key partners very strong, and these things will help you sustain in the market. And since we are a startup, we don't have a longer hierarchy to make a decision. We can make quick decisions, and we can take quicker like changes. We can make quicker changes.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, until your model is launched in the market, means you are starting yourself. Till then, what is the source of income for the company?
So as of right now, we have our financials covered by Darshan, and in the future we are planning to go for investment rounds soon in a month's time or two.
So I would like to add, what actually happens is when you start a business, you have an capital expenditure. As I showed you the cost structures. So you need to have the cost structure in right places where your capital will go and how will it generate the revenue in upcoming years, right? So whenever there's a business, there goes a huge investment in setting up the products, setting up the activities, bringing in the partners. So you're gonna make a product or service which is gonna give a value to the customers, and in a long run, maybe in after, let's say, once you launch a product, you're gonna get the revenue in, and then after a few years, you have a concept called a break-even point. So every business has this thing. You initially have to put the money in, then after a few years you have a break even point, and after that you start getting all the profits.
Okay.
So you talked
We have one
about
question here.
wait.
Due to cost of battery price of vehicle is also high.
Right. So like when you talk about the conventional engine vehicle, the cost of an IC engine is about, let's say, 15% of the vehicle. But for an electric vehicle, the cost of battery is about 30% of the vehicle. But what actually happens over here is that you, once you have the battery in place, then you eliminate a lot of other components. So the final cost of vehicle almost comes exact to the what is right now in the market.
Okay.
Okay, so I had one question. You talked about the key partners.
Right.
So how do you reach out to them, like as a startup?
So the most simple, like this is the most difficult part any company would face. So let's say, from my point of view, if you are partnering with someone else, let's say I want to partner with a battery manufacturing company. Uh, I am that they the company which manufactures battery is my key partner. So we have to find proper vendors who will give us the better product, will give us the product at very low cost. But when you look through their perspective, we are the key partners too, right? They would fit in their key partner section and they would fit in our key partner section. So the most important part is to keep finding. You will slowly keep finding. Then there are different websites. The most easy way is to Google. The next easy way is to find consultants who have a long business and long list of vendors. And the third most important way is to have a mentor, have an incubator with you. The first investor you have should be very important. Like the person should have knowledge about the industry. The person can provide all the details you need. The person can provide basically every single, like fulfill every single need of yours. So three ways. First, you find it on your own. Second, through a consultant, or third, through a strategic investor.
I saw a question from Gautam. So basically, our main competitors would be the legacy players like Bajaj or Piaggio or Mahindra, and also the new startups that are coming in place.
But then comes the question that even if there are so big players, why should we enter this market? So this question would be answered by our second segment, where I talk about the customer target market, the customer segment. When we look into the business, if the customer target market is very big, so let's say we talk about electric three-wheeler. Let's just talk about three-wheeler companies. So every single year, about 1 lakh vehicles are being sold. And out of that, about 20% are electric. But with the help of government policies, from 2030, about 40% of the vehicle sales would be electric. So here comes the thing that if you have a very huge market and you have demand, you have your operations in place, then people are going to buy your product. If you give them very good service, if you give them very good customer relationships, people are going to buy you. You just have to believe in yourself. Again, recently EV catches fire in Olas and Aethers. Well, Aether hasn't caught fire recently. It was Ola. The major reason over here comes to the design part. The Ola vehicle is being designed in Denmark. So the battery has been designed according to the Denmark temperature. But since the temperature in India is very high, they caught fire. Aether has designed their vehicle completely from scratch in India, and their vehicle is not going to catch fire. Hope so. And their vehicle is very good in performance compared to what Ola is offering. So that's the reason Aether is kind of a leader in the two-wheeler segment. And pure EV, obviously, it's just the Chinese rebranded scooter.
Okay, so there is one more question from COVID. He's asking, how do you deal with disruption in the markets?
What exactly? What do you mean by disruptions in market?
COVID, is it possible for you to yourself? Okay, so he cannot right now. Okay, he's saying self-driving cars and all that is an example of disruption.
Okay, so like self-driving cars are gonna disrupt the market. That is very true, and Tesla has already proved that. So the major aspect of disruption is every 7 year customer behaviors change, right? So every 7 to 10 years there is a change in technological advancement. So with the upcoming technologies, if the company does not adapt, if the companies does not improve their product, as Kunal said, nobody's going to survive a system. So there is always going to be disruptions in the market. Companies have to adopt and adapt and improvise. Continuous improvement, in short.
So the next question is from Rajeshri ma'am. She's asking, according to you, what is the future of EV car in India?
Future of EV car is it's basically it's gonna go up. We can see the market from USA and Europe, uh, and since the government is pushing the EVs very hard, from in 2030, about 30 to 40% of vehicles sold in India would be electric, and electric is gonna go very big since it's very low in operations and they offer a very smooth and relaxed ride. And since they're already electronic, integrating a self-driving car in it is very easier compared to what you can do with IC engine cars.
So a few days ago, I guess I saw your car, which is Maruti 800, right?
Right,
Which
exactly.
you converted from petrol to electric. So initially you made the four-wheeler car, but now then you are coming towards the three-wheeler segment.
Right. So the major thing in any startup or any business is to change with all the changing factors. So when we started out, we, as I said, as a very novice, a very beginner entrepreneur, we had lot of ideas in mind. We even had that business model in place, but there were few things which we did not add up. So the cost structures did not fit in what we thought would be like a value for the customers. When we went out and surveyed the customers, we found out that this is not the right product, this is the right product, and this is gonna what we build and what is gonna disrupt the market. So the major part before moving to a business model case is to research and research the market, to have a proper survey, a proper answers of every question, and to find out if the problem of the customer is big enough to be solved or not.
Okay. The question is from Sarvesh. Is EV design is complicated than IC engine cars?
Not exactly, but since the technology is different, if a mechanical engineer tries to build a battery pack, it's going to be difficult for that person. But if an electrical engineer is going to build a mechanical engine, it's going to be difficult for them. So it's a different technology, not easy, not difficult.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, according to you, which battery manufacturers are best for EVs?
What battery manufacturers are best for EVs? So all these companies have their own in-house battery manufacturing, but the cells comes in different size and shapes. So there are many manufacturers from all around the world. We don't have any preference, but there comes a type of cells which is all technical details. So you can go up online. You can, if you are interested in batteries, there is a website called batteryuniversity.com. So just go on that and you will find all the details about battery and battery manufacturing designs and everything.
Okay. So there's one more question from Vaishali ma'am. How to handle failure phase in the process?
Uh, so handling failure during the process is that's going to happen a lot of time. It's about being persistent. If you think your product is right, you just have to continue and you have to learn and upgrade yourself from your failures. From my personal experience before starting this company, I was a part of Snell Racing. Me and Vinay both were a part of Snell Racing. which designs and develops and Formula Shell race car. It's in your college right now. You might have seen the vehicle there. So there have been a multiple failures and multiple learning curves. You just have to keep moving one step ahead at a time.
Okay, one
Thank
more
you.
question. Does EV is powerful to climb hill roads easily?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, it's easily, but it's all about how you design a product. So when you look at a four-wheeler Tata, so they have a very good product which can go through guards. Ather can go through guards very easily. But if you take a very cheap Chinese model, it's not gonna sustain anything. So it's all about the company's value proposition.
But climbing the hill, does it reduces the range of the battery?
So what exactly happens over here when, let's say, you are in IC engine car, right? So when you're going up the hill, the mileage decreases. But when you're going down the hill, if you're going up, you're gonna come down, right? So the
Yes.
average is gonna be approximately same. Let's say if you're gonna go 7 kilometers up, you're gonna go 7 kilometers down, right? So
Okay.
it's gonna take more charge uphill, but very less charge downhill. So the average is almost the same.
Okay. So the question is from COVID: how complicated it is to set up charging ports for EV as compared to petrol and diesel pumps?
Uh, yeah, so it is definitely going to be very difficult, complicated to set up charging ports because it's not like IC engines that you just fill the petrol in, like, 2 to 5 minutes and just move. You need to keep your car for more than around 1 hour if you are fast charging. So this would be tackled if you have charging stations in your society where you live. The street parking that you have, they have charging stations, and parking lots that are the BMC parking lots that have come into place now. There you can charge your cars. For people, for the three wheelers, when we speak, so the major players, like, there's one company called Moving. So this Moving company is a logistics provider for e-commerce. They have their own grounds, lots where they have arranged their own parking, their charging stations, and the vehicles come there, charge, and move out for the day.
But the vehicles which are used in the logistics need to run, means they cannot stop and wait for charging to get completed, like 1 hour and all. That much time is their loss. So
Uh,
what is the solution for this?
So the question, let me answer. This question you have is a very general question which comes to a normal person's mind. But when you go out and have a very basic survey, so the daily running time is about, the daily running kilometers about 80 kilometers, not more than that. Once you have a battery pack which can give them 100 kilometers of range easily, it's a good deal for them.
Okay.
So it all comes down to the demand and supply. The demand is 80. We provide 80, not more than that, which brings the cost structures down and basically, having a proper uh, operations in hand.
I think we end the session now. Are there any questions? Hello.
Looks like there are no more questions. So that's it. Chinmay, can you proceed?
Yes. So thank you for this wonderful session and more interactive session. As all the good things came to an end, so does this session. I, Chinmay Mahangde, of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, on behalf of IIC, would like to thank our guest speaker, Darshan Khania, Kunal Khatarani, Vinay Vanwari for enlightening us with the knowledge and interesting things. They gave deep insights in achieving on how to build business models and also revealed some interesting facts. I'm pretty sure the precious knowledge shared by these people will definitely help us in our future career opportunities. I would like to thank the torchbearer of our institute, our respected IIC President and Principal, Dr. Vivek Sunna Pawar, sir, and Vice President of IIC and Vice Principal, Dr. Subhash Shinde, sir, for leading, inspiring, and supporting us to make this webinar successful. Also, thanking our IIC convener, Dr. Rajeshri Shinde, madam, for the support to conduct this event and to helping us in working towards the goal of conducting this workshop. We are thankful for your huge support at all times. Also uh, thanking today's coordinators and other members for their contribution. Conducting this webinar would have been impossible without the zealous efforts of IIC committee members who have devoted lots of time to and energy to this program. I must not forget to thank all the participants present here for their active participation in the entire session. I sincerely apologize if I have missed anyone. Once again, thank you to one and all present here. The feedback link is shared in the chat box. Do please fill it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.
If you have any business model, please you
So,
can tell us about that. You can share it at the khanemobility.com. Thank you.
yeah. So before leaving the session and ending it, please once again switch on your cameras for a quick photo, everyone.
Everyone, please switch on the camera. Okay, thank you. Uh, Thank you, Khane Mobility, and all the best for you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you. It was a very wonderful session.
Thank you.
So once again, thanks a lot everyone for participating and patiently listening to the webinar. Thanks to our guest also for sharing their insights on the ins and outs of the business model canvas. We will come with more interesting and insightful sessions for you all, and we're really thankful for sitting throughout the whole session. You may leave the meeting. Thank you.